In this example, we're going to describe each graph. We're going to comment on the direction, form, and the strength. So if you look at graph A, it looks like those points all line up in a straight line. Almost. They're very close. So it's definitely linear in nature. And also the direction is positive. We can see that the slope is positive, or as x increases, y also gets bigger. So as far as the direction goes, we could say positive. The form, it's linear, and although these aren't perfect, if we drew a best fit line right through the middle of them, they would lie very close to the line, so I'm going to say strong. In the next one, we also see a somewhat linear pattern. This time the slope is negative, and so we say that the x and y variables would have a negative relationship or a negative direction. The form again is linear. The strength here, you could go with strong, or you could make an argument for moderate. I'm going to write strong though, even though there might be a couple points that are a little far away from the line. I think that these points indicate a strong relationship. But again, you could argue for moderate. In this set right here, it's just kind of a glob of dots. They don't line up in a straight line or even in a curved fashion. So I'm going to say no relationship for this one. There is no direction, it's not linear, and this would not be a very strong relationship. So I'll just say no relationship for this one. If we look at the next one here, part D, it looks like we have some points that line up kind of in a straight line. Notice there's a lack of points here or here. They're not exactly close to a best fit line. And let's look at the slope here, and the slope is negative, so that'll be the direction. And then we're going to comment here on the form, and it is linear. And then you could say either moderate or even weak here. So I'm going to say moderate to weak. You can make an argument for each one. You'll learn in a later lesson there's actually a value we can put on that. This one right here is an interesting one. It seems like there might be some kind of linear relationship, but it's not positive or it's not negative. It seems like this is just kind of a grouping here. As x increases, the y doesn't really do much. So I think I'm actually going to say no relationship for this one. Can't tell even the direction, whether it's positive or negative. It's not really linear, it's more of a glob. I mean, it's kind of linear, and there'd be a weak association anyways. With this one on the right hand side here, you can see that we have a very strong linear relationship, and that slope is positive, so we'll write positive, linear, and I'm going to put very strong. The points line up almost on a best fit line. I mean, they're very, very close. We have just 3 more to work. In G here, I think we do have a linear relationship. It's weak to moderate, but as the grade point average increases, the hours of spent studying do increase. So I'm going to say this is a positive direction. It's linear. And you could say moderate. You might be able to make an argument for weak here, but I think this is moderate. If you draw a best fit line, a lot of the points are going to be fairly close to that line. There's only a couple here and here, maybe there and there. And maybe this one over here. That won't be close, but there's only a few of those out there. In the next one, number of miles walked per week and amount of gray matter. So that's in your brain, I guess. That probably doesn't have any association. And we can see here that it doesn't really. I mean, take a look at this here. Take a look at that. It's just a random grouping of points here, it seems like. So I'm going to say that there's no relationship here. The next one appears to be almost a straight line, and it's negative. So I'll say it has a negative direction. It's linear. And you could say strong, or maybe even very strong for this one. Those points would line up very, very close to a best fit line.